The movie Drive has an iconic song playing in the intro called Night Call. If you've ever wanted to make music like that, you're in luck. Today I'll show you how to make a synthwave song that will make even Kung Fury proud. So let's jump right into it. I'm starting with a tempo of around 125 BPM and I'm getting a lot of synths here. I need a synth bass, I need a synth flux, synth lead, a lot of synths. For this I recommend Analog Lab. It's a great plugin with a vast library of just random synths, be it modern or vintage. First things first, we're gonna go with a bass. I want the bass to be both rich in the low end and have some highs, so I've picked this bass. And that's it, that just loops. So the next up, we need to play chord progression on a synth that is kind of like an ARP. That way we're going to create some movement. We're going for a vibe of driving a DeLorean at midnight on a Pacific Coast highway and it's raining, something like that. For this, I got another preset from Analog Lab. It's called Night Call Guitar ARP. And after it loops one time, we're going to go an octave higher. Then we're going to layer it with something that sounds kind of like a voice, but not really. So I went with this synth, again from Analog Lab. Finally, just to keep things interesting between the transitions, I've added a synth string just to keep some tension. So it's just playing D minor. Cool. So next up is drums. Now this is a very important part. You need kind of like old sounding drum machine type sounds. We're gonna go with a pattern that's very simple. We just want a kick and a snare. Now we also have a hat that without any effects is gonna sound something like this. Okay, that's pretty boring. So I added Shaper Box and I used this preset called Drive Time Sweeper, and this is what I got. That's pretty much it for the drums. The only other thing I've added is a hi-hat pattern that's only coming into the chorus bit, and that is only to give it kind of like a fast-paced feel.
You like a hi-hat guy, come on.
That's it. Next up is Synth Lead. So here is where you can let your inner guitar god shine. Get some cool synths, some high-pitched synths, and just solo on this. All right? If you're struggling and you don't know what to play, just pitch bend a bunch of shit and it's gonna sound good. So I've added some reverb to it, and also I copied the pattern and then I just panned left and right so that it's a bit wider. So now both of them sound something like this. And I also have another lead that is only holding one note, but I'm modulating it. That's it. Now the final main element is vocals. I really can't sing, but what we're gonna do is use a vocoder. I used Isotope's vocal synth, but you can just use any stock plugin for vocoding. I'm just using the vocoder bit here with these settings, and then in the more advanced settings, I'm following this. Then I added some reverb and some vocal doubler to make it bigger. For lyrics, the cheesier the better. You need something about following your destiny, it being midnight and speeding on the highway, something like that. After all, Synthwave is pretty much just anime for people with a nostalgia boner. Okay, you don't need to be able to sing, and I'll prove that to you. I'll play the vocals with and without the vocoder, even though that will probably be a cringe OD for me, but things I do for you guys. That came from this. In the night. And then this came from this. It's calling me, my legacy. And oh, that hurt to hear. I also have some vocal layers here. And the first is a percussive laugh, kind of, and I'll show you what I mean. Without a vocoder, this is gonna sound awful, but bear with me, okay? I'm cooking something.
Hold up. Let him.
That sounds terrible, but we're gonna vocode it. It gives it kind of like a background percussive element vibe, and that's what we want. And then I use the same vocoder, and then I just said ah, and then I vocoded that and then pitched it up to create this kind of like plucky element. To make sure that this whole thing sounds like a cohesive song, we're gonna add some ear candy elements, and I'll show you what I mean by that. First things first is we need a nighttime ambience, okay? So this is a thunderstorm because pretty much all of Synthwave is happening at night during the rain. So it sounds something like this. You're familiar with rain. Then we need something howling. Kavinsky did a wolf, I did a wolf mouse. Now, same animal, different beast, all right? We need a car engine. If you don't know anything about cars and you just look through different free YouTube effects to make sure that you found something that kind of sounds like an 80s car, that makes two of us, okay? So I found this one. We need a tom fill for transitioning, and we're gonna add it here. Okay, just before the chorus. Finally, the last element is you need something that sounds like a voicemail. And I just recorded myself saying something that I think is going through Ryan Gosling's head during Drive. I made it sound like this.
Nighttime is drive time.
And that's pretty much it. Hope you guys like the track, and I'll just leave you with the final masterpiece.
Nighttime is drive time.